Hi everyone, Sarah here. Today we're going to be going into our metabolism, but not our actual metabolism, right? Where we eat something and then it goes through our body and it gets processed, but our emotional metabolism. Because just as your body has an actual metabolism that allows you to process the food that you take in, use what it needs, and get rid of the rest, your body also has an emotional metabolism. We're going to get into what happens to the emotional metabolism when you have lived a life of abuse, neglect, emotional trauma, when you have taken in emotional neglect, abuse, and trauma from relationships, whether it's relationships from your caregivers, from your upbringing, from your parents, or from chosen relationships like partners with emotionally unavailable people, partners with emotionally manipulative people, partners with people with narcissistic traits or tendencies, because they are all of the above. People who are very, very toxic and have a lot of toxicity in their body because what gets worked in also gets sent out. That's the definition of projection. And everyone has their own metabolism to help them process physically what's happening within their body. And we all also have an emotional metabolism. So we're going to dive into that today. And if you haven't yet, I highly encourage you to go check out my free training, my free masterclass on the 5 archetypes of the emotionally abused. If you were raised with emotionally unavailable caregivers or parents, or with emotionally unavailable, neglectful, and abusive partners, you have more than likely developed these 5 archetypes, and not many other people get into these 5 archetypes, or they get into one and not the other. And you realize you now, you as you are, have this whole range of emotions and things that you're processing, and realize I can feel it inside my body. Specifically, the people that I work with one-to-one. Not to say that the people that come into our world and join the program don't experience these things as well. More than likely they do, because they've also gone through that process and they've realized they can almost physically feel the trapped emotions in their body. Most people say, it feels like this heaviness in my chest. It feels like this block in my throat, that when it comes time, and it's always at really important times, life-changing times, right? And they can't speak up. They can't use their voice. Their voice goes silent. Their voice gets cracked. And it's like they feel disassociated and disconnected from their body, because there's a part of their body that's like, come on, now is your time. Say it. This is an opportunity. And you realize, I cannot take advantage of this opportunity to speak up because I'm being triggered. I feel anxiety. I feel like I can't breathe. And you feel your physical body take over, much like your physical metabolism takes over and just does its job without you needing to tell it what to do. It just does it. And it's like the body responds to these emotional energies and cues that are outside of there, that it receives from other people that it interacts with. So all of these interactions, energies are happening all the time. And this impacts our emotional body. And when your emotional body is still holding on to a lot of unprocessed emotion, that's all that trauma is. It's trapped emotion, trapped energy. It's still stuck from the past. It's as if physically you ate a meal, it went in your mouth, you chewed it, more than likely not enough, because trauma generally happens really quickly. And it's like, getting shoved all this food, and maybe it feels like it's still stuck in your throat. Maybe it feels like it's gone down. Maybe you can like feel it, almost like if you were to physically burp, it would like come up and come out because it's stuck there, it's trapped there. Perhaps you feel as if it's gone down into your body, into your stomach, and it feels stuck there. It's not moving through, it's not flowing through the way it's designed to, right? Think about when you eat food. Comes in, goes up. Your body absorbs and uses and takes what it needs, and it has a process to expel what it doesn't. So the emotional metabolism very much acts the same, but we don't physically see the leaving of our emotions. Sometimes you can if you're using other techniques like EFT, right? If you're tapping, the emotional freedom technique, and you're chanting and you're saying these things and Ooh, what was that? And you may know what it is, especially if you're tapping around a specific uh, engagement or reaction. Like, I got angry and I blew up at my kid or my partner, and I release this anger. I release the anger from my partner. I release what I said. I'm free to let it go, whatever it is. So there are different tips and techniques. But for that deeply rooted trauma, that subconscious trauma, that's the stuff, right? Consciously I can kind of tap some emotion now and I can feel this release. But the deeply rooted subconscious beliefs and trapped trauma, that impacts your emotional metabolism. I recently connected with a client, and she said, it's weird because during the day I'm just so filled with anxiety, and she was using language and the words like filled. I'm filled with anxiety. I can't focus. My body goes numb. I feel this heaviness in my chest. I feel this block in my throat. I know it's my time and my turn to speak up and say something, and it's like something comes in and takes over me and I can't get the words out because I'm filled with anxiety, and the anxiety is blocking me from saying what I want and need to say. And then, of course, when that time has passed later, I replay this story. This is a part of what the gaslighter archetype does. They replay, they ruminate, they go back on, they dwell in all of these stories from the past, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And I've got another video that's about 20-25 minutes that dives specifically into the archetype of the gaslighter. And I've got a video on all 5 of the archetypes of the emotionally abused and traumatized, and we go into deeply healing those in my program. But if you want to know more about them, I'll leave links to them in the description below this video so you can check this out. But I'm filled with anxiety. And then when the work day is done, made it through another day. I don't know how, right? By the skin of my teeth, barely. I'm alone. And then I eat, and it's when it's dark, when it's quiet, when I'm alone and I eat, it's that window, that small window of time during the day, every day, where I feel okay. I feel fine. I'm not filled with anxiety. I'm like filled with food. And so many people that I work with describe this. If I fill my body with something else physically, this is the stuffer bottler archetype. And many people will use readily available things: food, alcohol, substances, relationships. If I distract myself, it temporarily relieves that other feeling that I don't want to be filled with. But that's in this realm of emotional metabolism, like eating something different. It's like eating a cookie instead of a sandwich or a salad. It's just something different that you're putting in your system. So something different that you're tasting, you're feeling, you're experiencing. You feel different after you eat a cookie than you do after you eat a healthy salad. So everything that you take in impacts the way you feel, and it impacts everything else. So what she described for that time, during the day, I'm filled with anxiety. I can't eat because I feel sick. I feel like if I do eat, I'm going to throw it up. I'm going to get sick. But during the day, when I'm done with all my work, then I can finally eat. And when I'm filled with food, when I'm filled with something physical, for a moment in time, I don't think about the emotional. And this is so true of people who still have emotional abuse and trauma trapped in their body, that it's unprocessed. So it gets in our body, in our system, through our relationships, and the foundation of it is laid early on in our being, right? The foundation of our emotional intelligence, of our emotional maturity, the things that we were taught, the things that we were not taught, but we should have been in order to be emotionally stable as adults. We take all of this on, all of it in when we're young. We hear things, we see things, we experience things, and those things lay this foundation for our emotional blueprint. And from that affects our emotional metabolism. Many of the people that I work with do not feel safe in relationships. They feel unworthy of being in good, solid, healthy, loving relationships, because their emotional metabolism, when safety, when love, when trust comes in, it's almost like it makes them sick. Their body rejects it, repels it, because they don't have an unconscious belief that they're worthy of it. If you don't believe you're worthy of receiving safety, love, trust, and that's part of the gaslighter archetype as well, is like you constantly question the trust. I don't know. I don't know if I'm worthy of it. If I were worthy of it, wouldn't I feel different? Because when I receive love, safety, and trust, maybe it's through a friendship or a partnership or a specific kind of relationship, it's like, oh, this feels good. But then your mind kicks in and goes, hold on, wait a minute. Is this really this? Because this is really good. This is too good to be true. You don't actually deserve this. And then you begin to sabotage your relationship with that person. And you begin to wonder, why do I always do this? Why do I always mess this up? Why do I always find myself in situations and relationships where I'm the one causing the arguments? I'm the one starting it. But I'm also the one that wants it. I want this relationship, yet I'm causing the arguments in it, yet I'm reacting the way that I always have in relationships. And I'm the one. And then you begin to realize that you're the common denominator in all these things. And you really need to realize, like, this is my emotional metabolism that I'm not able to process, that I'm not able to let go of, to release, to allow, to move through me. It feels stuck, it feels blocked inside of me. So it feels like you've got all of these emotions and they're just stuck in there. And anytime something like that or similar happens again, you think, here it is again. This is familiar. And it doesn't feel like you're able to get it out, to remove it, to process, much like a metabolism is designed to do. A metabolism have different rates and different speeds, right? I remember being a little girl in high school and being so jealous of the other girls who had a high metabolism, meaning we had open campus for lunch and we could go to different restaurants. And as people in high school do, we were not worried about eating healthy and having salad. I would either not eat to try and stay a certain shape and size and be skinny and save my money for other things like shoes and clothes and makeup. But I would be really, really, really jealous of the girls that we would go out to lunch with, and they could eat burgers and fries and chocolate shakes and literally not gain any weight. And what they said was, I have a really high metabolism. And I thought, I must have a really low metabolism. If that's the opposite of high, mine must be really low. And I'm not sure about their emotional state. No one's is perfect, especially in high school, but their families were very different than mine. And I realized that the upbringing that I had set me up to have a really low emotional metabolism. I was filled with very heavy feelings, filled with feelings of shame, guilt, doubt, inability to trust. It's even when things were good, it was like, okay, but for how long? When is the other shoe going to drop? Because I know in any moment it's going to change. It's going to go back to feeling bad, feeling like I messed up, feeling like this is my fault, feeling like I did something wrong, feeling like I didn't do enough. I'm not good enough, because if I was, you wouldn't be reacting that way. And look at the way you're reacting, and you're taking it out on me. So it must be something that I did and I don't know what it is. And if I don't know what it is, I can't change it. I feel powerless. I feel helpless. I feel out of control. And those were all of the emotions that I was filled with, which led me to feeling like I had a low metabolism. And not just because I was jealous of the girls who could eat burgers and fries and chocolate shakes and not gain any weight and still wear the short shorts and still have all the guys look at them. But it was so much of that interaction in that game that was played because I was trying to keep up with them, right? Filled with these low energies and heavy emotions, and trying to keep up with the girls that seemed to have the high metabolism, still trying to fit in, still trying to look like them. And that led to binge eating, and that led to eating disorders and body dysmorphia and all of these other things, because there was comparison, there was judgment, there was shame around my own body, wanting to look like their body. And it wasn't so much the physicalness. It was at that time, I wanted to look like them and be like them so that I could be liked the way that they were liked by other people. But it was the emotional parts that I was carrying around that were really, really impacting me. And that's what today's topic is about, is that emotional metabolism. I didn't know it then, but I was unable and unwilling. I didn't know how to work through those emotions that were stuck in me, trapped in me, that literally had me feel full all of the time. Even when I wouldn't eat because I'd want to save my money so I could go buy makeup and clothes and look pretty and be skinny like them, I could feel my stomach growling physically. I could hear it, especially in whatever class that was right after lunch. And I was like, what, is that your stomach? Like, didn't you just eat? Oh, I didn't have time today. And I'd make up some excuse. It was the emotional intelligence, not feeling that I was good enough as I was, and feeling full of these heavy emotions that always felt full. And it's no wonder, especially in the first marriage to the covert narcissist, I had severe digestive issues. I did all kinds of cleanses, was on all kinds of diets, would exercise vigorously and constantly, again, to try and maintain a certain shape and weight so that I would have this person that I was married to love me, accept me, lust after me, want me the way that it seemed like he wanted other people, and eventually went after them. And that impacts your emotional metabolism as well. When you go through a relationship where there's not a balance of healthy emotions, there's not an interaction, there's not an exchange of healthy emotions, there's, I have all of these really heavy emotions and we also don't talk about it. And I do everything outside of me to try and balance this emotional scale. And I call it the physical scale as well, because I would constantly get on the physical scale. And you realize this healing journey and process to regulate your emotional metabolism cannot happen with an external physical scale. It must happen within, to process your emotions, to metabolize them with ease, with grace, and to sit with what's already there, to sit with what has yet to be processed and allow that to process, really get to the depth of it, the core of it, the root of it, using the power of your unconscious mind so that it can be processed and moved through and released. The work that I do with people, majority of them have already tried so many other things like tapping or EMDR or a number of other things. They've gone other routes. And I say this, right? Emotional transformation, complete healing and transformation without more years of therapy, without more self-help books, and without more medications, because that's truly what it is. And I encourage you to hop on over to my website and check out the client success stories. I just got an email today, this morning, from a client who said, Sarah, it is mind-blowing that in just one session with you, after years and years and years of bawling and crying my eyes out at other counselors and other practitioners, in just one session, and it's been 3 months since our one session, I'm still free from all this stuff. And that's because her emotional metabolism was finally able to let go and to release all the unprocessed emotion that she had been carrying through her life. It's like eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. And it can only go so many places, right? So when you're taking in all of these emotions, guilt, shame, pain, blame, resentment, anger, feelings of rejection, feelings of unworthiness, feelings of powerlessness, feelings of hopelessness, feelings like everything is your fault, it can only go so many places. And your body begins to feel it and express it physically. Emotionally, you feel trapped. Your emotional metabolism feels completely out of whack, completely off balance. That generally impacts the physical scale as well. A number of people that I've worked with find that after working together, their body is able to get into a state of balance, of a healthy weight, healthy shape for them, without worrying about counting calories or, oh my God, I need to eat this and do this diet or these special exercises. You find that when you're balanced emotionally and your emotional metabolism is working properly, when something comes up or you experience something, you're allowed to sit with it. You feel safe to sit with it. You feel that you can process it and move it through. You don't push it aside. That's the P me. You don't procrastinate it and say, I'll do it later. No, not right now. I'm too busy. I'll do it later. You allow yourself that space, that time, whatever it is that you need to be with it then and not procrastinate it and put it off till later and get out of that part of your mind that says, no, this isn't really it. Are you sure it's it? I don't know. Let me ask someone else. Hey, bestie, what's up? So this is what happened. So what do you think? Or keep it all in because you're so ashamed and afraid to reach out to anyone who would be happy to connect with you and support you and be with you through it. All of that shame keeps you in the dark, keeps you stuck, feeling isolated and alone. You stuff it and you bottle it. That's the stuffer bottler archetype in you. And the gaslighter archetype in you thinks, no, I don't really think that's true, but no, maybe that's a lie. I don't know. I'm not sure. And is what I call the Debbie Downer or the Danny Doubter. Debbie Downer, doubter. I just messed that up, but you'll see. We get into it in that video when you look into the gaslighter archetype view. But you begin to question, ruminate, doubt, and through that, you're not processing those emotions, and therefore your emotional metabolism is completely off balance, out of whack. So when you go through this journey and this transformation of transforming, and that's completely what it is. It's like a metamorphosis. It's like that process of a caterpillar doing what it needs to do to become what it's meant to be. Going through the caterpillar phase into the cocoon, into that space, processing, metamorphosizing, metabolizing, and changing and coming out so beautiful and new and changed and transformed and different from the way it used to be. That's this experience and this journey that transforming past pain to present power takes you on and takes you through and regulates your emotional metabolism. You're able to process those trapped emotions and traumas and abuse and neglect from your past relationships. You're able to completely transform and change the inner subconscious beliefs that you have, that your mind has about you and who you are and your place in this world, your purpose in this world, and completely take that pain from the past and transform it into present power. Because the future is always going to be the future. Tomorrow is always going to be tomorrow. What matters is now. What matters is your emotional metabolism and the emotional state that your metabolism is in now. That's what determines what today is like. That's what determines what today feels like, who you're able to be in your relationships, the person that you're able to show up as and be today. And that is what impacts tomorrow and your future. But if your emotional metabolism still has tons of unprocessed, unhealed emotional trauma, today is not going to be a good day. And I know you know what I'm talking about if you've been in relationships with toxic people, with people who've projected their own inner unhealed wounds, pains, and traumas onto you, and you absorbed it and you were unable to process, metabolize, and move it through. And it's life-changing, completely life-changing to go on this journey. Whether you decide the best route for you is to go ahead and get involved and begin the program, the 12-week self-study guided program where you connect with other people who are on this journey. I hop in there live once a week, or you decide, you know what, I want to work one-to-one. Everything you're saying, it resonates. It's me, and I don't want it to be me. I want to become that butterfly. I feel like now I'm a caterpillar who's stuck and it doesn't know how to make a cocoon. No one ever taught me. And I've been trying to read books about this is how you make a cocoon, and I still don't get it. It's still like, huh? I tried, I failed, it's not working for me, yet I'm ready to go through that experience of transformation and I'm ready to regulate my emotional metabolism because I know that that needs to be regulated so I can get to that state because life is going to happen. Things are going to happen in life. It's not like, oh, I do this work one time and I'm just a monk sitting on top of a mountain meditating all day, every day. No. But with a healthy emotional metabolism, you're able to regulate and process emotions as they come and feel them move through you and not stop you or block you from the things that you want to do because we're all going to experience challenges in life. But when your emotional metabolism has a ton of unprocessed emotions in it, still stuck in it, trapped in it, you're going to find it very, very difficult to get through even the simple, small, what should be easy day-to-day tasks. And that is the difference. That's what changes everything. When you regulate your emotional metabolism, when that is balanced and in a healthy state, then the things that you experience are of healthy, are of sound, are of peaceful, joyful mind. And for the vast majority of people that I connect with, that's what they want. They want freedom, they want peace, they want calmness, they want safety, they want trust. They want to feel balanced in life and happy and all the things that they do, and they're not living in this, bubble where, oh, kumbaya, things are going to be perfect after, but things are going to be much better as your emotional metabolism is regulated. So if you're ready to go on that journey, I would love to see you inside of our group. I'd love to see if we're a good fit to work one-to-one together as well. If that's what you're looking for, you can find all that information through my website, and the links for that are below as well. All right, guys, that is it for this video and our emotional metabolism. And know that even if you grew up believing you don't deserve it, you do deserve to have everything you want. You do deserve it. You are worthy of it. And if you have believed otherwise for however long and you struggle with letting that go, know that you can look forward to letting that very thought and belief go, because you are worthy and you are deserving of everything that you desire. All right, guys, that's it for today. Bye for now.